we're doomers or something like that.
Oh yeah,
Is
doomers
that
are realists.
basically just a gloom and doom perspective, or is that addressing a climate specific thing, or?
It's everything collapse because economy and climate are very directly related through overshoot. So that's what a lot of people can't connect. You know, we talk about connecting the dots because everything's interrelated. And climate and and economy are so hand in hand. And this is collapse. We're losing habitat. We've overpopulated the planet. We've, like Guy McPherson said in my interview on this channel previously, Pave Over Paradise put up a parking lot, the old Joni Mitchell song, which is so true and real. And I think we're live now. Let me
Oh,
check.
cool. Hey.
It is 5:01.
Howdy,
So I
howdy.
just want to, yeah. So thank you everyone for joining. I've got Kevin, Daniel, and Amanda. Welcome to Collapsing with Casey. I'm really excited about this interview. I know a lot of you guys are as well. A lot of people have been looking forward to this, and thanks everybody that brought to my attention their organization, the Right to Die organization. So it's a lot of what encompasses what Collapsing with Casey is about, because I've always known that we were going to basically, well, obviously we're going to die in the end. We don't want to suffer, you know, that's important. So, without further ado, I would like to introduce Evan and Danny and Amanda from the Right to Die organizations. Guys, thank you so much for joining Collapsing with Casey today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'd like to start off by kind of going around the room and just briefly talk about your history and how you came to be involved with the Right to Die organization. Why that was, you know, why that was your calling.
Who wants to go first? Whoever, doesn't matter.
You go ahead, Kevin.
My name's Kevin. We started this group I guess in theory a year-ish ago when me and Danny were daddy. Well, in offline I call him Danny, but that's a separate thing. No, but we became friends a year ago-ish, something like that. But through other like philosophy groups and whatnot. And we were just chatting and talking about the Right to Die. And it just kind of, I mean, we just became buddies and good friends, but it was like the Right to Die was a conversation we were just always having. And we were just making these killer arguments, just texting each other, you know, just being like, oh, that's a good point, buddy. You know, that's a great point. And I don't, honestly, maybe Danny has a better memory because my memory sucks pretty bad as far as how that evolved into us developing our organization. But I basically, yeah, we just created it. And Amanda came, I don't know if she came after or just the whole process was her along with us. She can kind of correct that too if she wants.
I came a little later down on the road.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought so, but I wasn't quite sure, but something like that in the timeline. But anyway, regardless, we decided to, do this. And it's a topic that's just so utterly insanely important because so many millions and millions of people are living miserable lives and they want out and they can't be out because it's like coming out. Like it's taboo right now to say I want out. It's like a, you know, sort of like the coming out thing. Literally, people are afraid to say it because they know what will happen. The nurses and whoever will come and they'll do all of this really authoritarian shit to you, you know, and force you to take drugs. Maybe you'll even end up in a hospital. Like everyone knows who wants that, you know what I mean? Anyway, little rant there about us. But yeah, no, I think our ideas, and maybe we could get to talking about them, I think is much more progressive than the average Right to Die organization as far as differentiating ourselves from others. We're not just terminally ill, you know, old person, you know, voluntary euthanasia. We believe like the universal right to die for everybody, period. Within our limits, we can talk about that, but it's like within, like I was telling you earlier, you know, it's one right, to us, death with dignity or whatever, any legal euthanasia law is really addressing only 1% of the population. And we're basically fighting for the 99% that want out legally and in a humane way, but we're also fighting for like the victims of suicide, the people that have already died. And we know that, yeah, they can't get justice because they're dead. But damn it, how many millions and hundreds of millions of people have died these horrific lives? And it was just totally wasted suffering, just 100% complete, utter, just waste of horror and terror. So we're just kind of fighting, in a way, I guess, in theory, justice for them, and by trying to prevent this to ever happen again, and changing the perception about what death means and what suicide is really like. Because you just say the word suicide and everybody's, oh, wait, don't even say that word, it's a bad thing, you're talking about a bad thing. Are we really? Or are we talking about things that I would argue most people rationally come to a conclusion to in a reasonable way? There's a lot of impulse suicides for sure, based on emotion or trauma or an event that happens, but damn, I would argue that such a large percentage of suicides are rationally thought out in a reasonable way, even if it's in crude methods. Anyway, we have this organization to fight all that stuff. And sorry to talk a little too long there, but I hope that is good.
No, that was brilliant, man. Everything that you poured out was just, thank you for that. That was really, really profound and well said. And I agree 100%.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Danny, would you like to go next?
Sure thing. I believed in the right to die for everyone for around 20 years, since I was in my late teens. It came with my deconversion from religion. And so, I had a lot of other ethical opinions that came along with my atheism, such as, procreation. I mean, there's a harm in coming into existence, and procreation is unethical, and euthanasia should be something for everybody. But I didn't do any activism until around November of last year, is when me and Kevin really started talking about what this thing should look like. So our basic premise is that we want the right to die for everyone as a basic human right, just not something that you have to earn. And also we want to, we don't want people to resort to violent methods. We want peaceful methods to be allowed. Just like, when you have abortion rights, for example, it takes away the coat hangers and the staircases and replaces them with abortion clinics. So, yeah. And, it did take me a while to write the mission statement, because, writing is tough. So the right no longer exists has become more ambitious as, time went on. And, hopefully this thing will take off and let's see here, and become global. It's like, trying to think else what to say, but yeah, everybody should have it. We were brought into this world, we were forced into existence, and someday we'll be forced to die. So there's no objective arguments that says that you are wrong for wanting out early. Okay, I think it's I did okay, hopefully.
Yeah, no, really good, Danny. That was, you really put the facts out there, and what, what reality is up against. It's real that we're all going to die. What shouldn't be real is that we all have to suffer through it. And the way, we can, like you guys say too, and I totally agree with this. I make the same point. We are free to take our animals to the vet when they're sick and put them down, so they don't suffer. But we can't even do that for ourselves, our family, our loved ones. How tough is that? So And death is just I think that's why there's that religion. People go to religion so easily, because it's denial of death. That oh, you suffer here, and then you're going to go dance on a fluffy cloud, and just silly. I mean, that's no child. I didn't believe that when I was a child. I can't believe adults still believe that shit. So it's great. Sorry to carry on, but I just wanted to thank you, Danny, for your comments, and also moving on. Sorry, Amanda, you haven't had a chance to tell your story yet, and I want to hear that too. I know everybody does.
Yeah, no worries. So first off, thank you so much, Joey, for having us. So my name is Amanda. I know Kevin and Danny. I've known Kevin and Danny for quite some time now. We're all sort of contributors, aside from the Right to Die movement, to the antinatalist movement. So I know Kevin and Danny from our collective activism with that subject as well. And together we are the Right to No Longer Exist, and we also have a podcast, the Right to No Longer Exist, a Right to Die podcast. And I think we're kind of coming from the perspective of, DNA creates this circumstance where living things, keep getting thrown behind the bars of the DNA molecule, as illustrated by this image. So all these little sentient creatures are behind the bars of the DNA molecule through the mechanism of procreation, and that creates a circumstance where we suffer for no good reason, for absolutely no good reason, just because this DNA molecule wants to keep on DNA moleculing forever. And as our friend Mendham says, it is crude forces in control of precious commodities. And where are those precious commodities? So the Right to No Longer Exist is all about not throwing people behind those bars, but also giving people the key to open the gates, which is the right to die. If you're thrown into this mess, without your consent, if you're imposed upon, then you need a way out. You need a way out that honors the fact that your sentience is this precious, desperately delicate thing, that is where all the value in the whole universe can exist, is in your ability to conceptualize and experience suffering. And so we are all, whether we're a human animal or regular animal, we're all in need of a graceful way out. And, so the Right to Die activism, the Right to Die movement, for me anyway, and I think both for Kevin and Danny, is an incontrovertibly linked part of antinatalist activism. I've been doing sort of more focused antinatalist activism for the last almost 11 years. And in that time and before that time too, I've been very passionate about the Right to Die, but I haven't known how to do very effective Right to Die activism personally. The forms that my antinatalist activism have taken are myriad. Like I come at it from all different kinds of ways, but one of the ways that I most typically come at it through is through comedy. And that's not really something you can do with the Right to Die. Like, it's just not funny. And so, I think one of the things that working with Kevin and Danny has given me a chance to develop is better ways of doing Right to Die activism. And Danny has done some just extraordinary writing, which I hope we'll get a chance to talk about. And Kevin is they're both absolutely brilliant writers and video producers. And yeah, so I'm just very grateful to be working with them. And I love what we've produced so far. And this is one of the most important subjects in the whole world. And it's just absolutely shameful how few people in this world will ever get the grace of exiting this world in some sort of reasonable way, delicate way. And so, yeah, I hope to spend whatever, time I have left on this earth trying to at least be a voice of that.
That's beautiful, man. That was really well spoken, really well said, Amanda. I'm really impressed by everything you said there. And yeah, I mean, it's really heavy, right? I mean, this is like the heaviest thing, and that's why people they can't face it, they can't talk about it, and they just like immediately divert, right, and go into, religion or or the game or, or the weather, some just totally off topic. If you even try to bring up any kind of reality of this, I guess. You were talking about Daniel's writing, and you wanted to kind of further talk about that too. And I think Kevin's writing you mentioned as well. So yeah, let's do that. Let's explore and talk about some of that, you guys.
You want to talk about your letter, Danny?
Sorry, I just I was trying to unmute it there. Yeah, I started to write the letter in, let's see, around December. And it took me until May to finish it because, at one point it was like 5 pages long. So I had a lot of fat trimming to do. But I wanted to make the point that there is only subjective opinions that's holding people back from getting what they need, and not evidence-based, philosophies and stuff like that. And I tied in a lot of things together, from the abortion argument. I like to use the my body, my decision argument. We should be natural allies with the pro-abortion movement. I tied in so many things. Have you seen the video, Joey? Where
Yeah, I did watch that. I think it was last night or recently, where you had a box of letters, man. You had and you said you were, most of that was emails, but you also had a box of letters that you were sending out. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is, I didn't get no letters back from civil and human rights organizations, and I'm not surprised. Not even the left wing, left of the left, supports the right to die, or at least talks about it. Even if they did support it, they wouldn't speak up about it because they might lose their Senate seat, for example. So I'm surprised I didn't get it. I only got 2 letters back, one from Compassion and Choices and another from the Atheist magazine, who wants an op-ed. And I haven't finished that yet because I really want it to get through. So, I'll work on it sometimes, and I'm kind of stuck right now, but I'll get there. My goal is to finish it by December. It's I guess I could say the name of it, Free Inquiry Magazine. So yeah, that's the next step. And also we're, I guess our next phase of the argument is talking about, we can easily win the argument with logic, and that's what we do, but we also need to address other people's emotions and psychologies, because we're all social animals. We get attached to people, and one of the things I've been thinking about lately is the fact that those who want to keep other people alive against their will are doing it for their own selfish reasons, because or their own their own emotional stability. So when somebody says, you need to live, what they're really meaning, and without even realizing it, it's like, I need you for myself. And delve deeper into that conversation of, what's going on in the subconscious mind is very important. And yeah, we just hit the ice, we're on the tip of the iceberg when it comes to that. So let's see. I guess if anybody else wants to talk, kind of had a little brain blip there. I kind of went on a tangent, but so go ahead, you guys.
Kevin, you write some stuff as well. Did you want to talk about that?
Oh, not that much, only just because I don't write that well. I don't like, yeah, that's my struggle, is the writing part. Creating like creative stuff and videos and musical things or whatever, I enjoy a lot. I hope we can make some more of those. In fact, yeah, we're hoping to make a new one. But as far as writing goes, yeah, and Dan, I mean, me and Danny chat. You know, it's easy to chat, text, and stuff and write, but when you sit down and write, it's really hard, and that's my like struggle mostly with the Right to Die, as far as script writing. And I don't know, it's just not my strength, but I think we all make a great combination of writers and creatives, and Amanda has made a movie, so you know I'm trying to shoot a Right to Die short film, so that's cool. It got on pause with COVID forever, but I'm just starting to get rock that again. I'm really excited because you know, it's kind of like other philosophies, you know, you have to approach it in different ways, and some people have to be harsh, brash, yelling in your face kind of to make some people be like, oh yeah, cool. And then other people need to be charmed into it and sweet talked. And maybe we can try all those different methods for fun, just to get the point across. You know, it might have to be a mix of one or the other, or both, or somewhere in between. Yeah, but yeah.
How if folks want to be part of your organization too, and they want to, you know, get involved, and is there anything that that people can do to you know, are you guys looking to you know, become like a nonprofit, or, and maybe you already are, I don't know, you know, that kind of thing? Like, are you guys looking to get more activists and you know, more people on your team? Obviously you are, but in what way can people connect with you guys and help you do your work?
Well, we do have short-term and long-term goals, but right now we're not looking to be like an NGO or anything. When I talked to that guy from who runs a Right to Die organization, he did ask a lot of questions, like, you know, are you just, is this a for-profit organization? Are you an NGO? Are you a member of the World Confederation of the Right to Die Societies? And after I said no to all three of those answers, he really didn't seem interested after that. And it's like, you know, I don't think we should have to join some kind of fraternity or something to get our points across and speak the truth. We shouldn't have to join some kind of social club, you know. So yeah, it's I mean, I would love to work with these people, no doubt, but I don't think it should be mandatory, because all it takes is the human voice to spread the truth.
If I may add, I mean, we are sort of at the beginning of all of this. I mean, I think that all of those things that you mentioned could be a part of how we grow. But I mean, I think it's going to be really interesting to see exactly where the Right to No Longer Exist will fit in, you know, to some of these already existing Right to Die groups, because in some respects, we are making a different argument than a lot of the pre-existing Right to Die groups, because you know, as Kevin and Danny were saying earlier in this interview, like we aren't just making an argument about the right to die for the terminally ill or the very old. You know, it is an all-encompassing, anybody should be able to have this. Now, there are certainly Right to Die activists that are very famous that believe that, but I think we are sort of coming at that from a very different perspective, especially because we are also, part of our commentary is about procreation as well. And so again, it's going to be sort of interesting to see who will want to talk to us and who will want us in their, you know, in their list of organizations and whatnot. I mean, it might actually be something that we have to fight for, and it might not be as easily won as being a more standardized, you know, Right to Die organization or group. But in the meantime, I mean, we definitely plan on doing more podcast episodes. One of the loveliest things is that, we've only done one episode so far, but we've gotten a lot of video responses. And so we love seeing that. We hope that people will continue to do that. We get to do things like this on your show, Joey, which is so exciting. We're going to have more and more social media outreach in the near future. We already have a Facebook page, a website's on the way. So, again, we are at the very beginning, but as Danny was saying, we have, more short-term and long-term goals. And I really do think there's a lot coming, a lot of ways to expand what we're doing already.
Yeah, absolutely. I would like to point out too, just like what you guys are saying, these big organizations are usually, they get so big that they no longer are about what they are supposed to be about, what started the organization. For instance, Greenpeace, I don't know if everybody's on board, but Greenpeace is in the fossil fuel pockets. So fighting for, environmental rights and protection, and not just Greenpeace, but basically anyone that most people can name, if they're not just a small organization of 3 or 4 people, basically they're in the pockets of the people who they are supposed to be protecting us from. That's why we donate to them. And that's part of, I think that's also part of collapse. That's a sign of very late term, no different than stage 4 cancer. That's like a stage 4 collapse. It's no different than the fire department being a nonprofit, and you donate to them and they come burn your house down because they don't have a fire to fight, and they need the work to make themselves look productive, so they burn your house down. It's so stupid. It's literally like how backwards the world has become. And thankfully, yes, at least in our country, so far, fire departments aren't burning your house down. But I mean, that would be like the next thing if we had to raise money for the fire department, that would be how capitalism nowadays would say the best way to do it and raise money. It's so I completely understand with you guys being small, and that's because you guys are still pure from the heart, and I love that, because that's to me, that's punk rock, that's real, and that's all there is, that's all there ever was, but it's not much of that left.
Yeah, it's like we want to grow and get big because, in the sense that we want everybody to be able to have access to the right to die. So that needs to be as big as it can. But we also want the freedom to be able to make the arguments that we want to be able to make, and so we really do want to try to not do anything that would, cut our tongue in half, essentially. I think is a good way of metaphoring it.
Yeah, absolutely. Kevin and I were talking earlier before the show. I wanted, before I forget, I wanted to bring this up. You were talking about, there's a group that will actually come and when it's your time, and they'll help you through it. They'll like hold your hand and stuff. Like, can you talk about that?
Oh yeah, I don't know much directly about it. It's Final Exit, I think is what it's, or is it Final Exit International? Or Exit International. I keep getting confused between the two. Danny, are they two separate groups?
Yeah, it's Final Exit Network, or FIN for short. FE.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and it's the service they provide that's amazing. And they come to your house, and I don't know what they do, but they're there for you. It's moral support, and it's obviously they know all the legal like they avoid all the legal parts of whatever. But I mean, I don't know tons about them, but they're kind of the group where we would basically have, I don't think, any disagreements with what they're doing and everything. I mean, it's kind of like Dignitas under the under the table or whatever. And no, it's a great service, and it's like something that I hope can be utilized in a more popular way or whatever. And this is the problem where you're talking about like membership and organizations, stuff like Dignitas or even Final Exit Network, you have to be a member of, and it might just be a couple $100, but Dignitas is what, 10 grand, 14 grand or something just to fly over there and get euthanized. It's insane. And that's the gap we're working with right now, which is just nuts. It's basically inaccessible to 99% of people. They can't afford that. And I know it's not legally right, so we kind of have to do a lot of traveling or whatever, but that's what we hope to change is it's supply and demand, right? If it was legalized all of a sudden, a lot of groups would figure out a way to come up with the Nembutal or whatever it is, and to provide those services for a much cheaper price, I guess is all I was headed with that.
And where
Yeah,
is that? I'm sorry, Danny, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just saying, yeah, it's a shame that, what Finn are doing is technically illegal and they get arrested for consensually releasing people from the shackles of suffering. It reminds me of like a slave narrative, like where, back in the American South where slavery was illegal, if you tried to free a slave from their shackle of servitude, you would be labeled as a criminal. So the same dynamic is happening today with people who want the right to die and, organizations that want to help them.
Where is it that you have to fly to? You said it's like 10 grand or something.
Switzerland.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Switzerland. And isn't there another one in Belgium or something? There's another one somewhere.
I'm not sure. Belgium doesn't have an age limit, but I don't know if citizens of other countries can go there. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, there's a new one that's I don't know if it's new. It's new to me, I should say. Anyway, it's just a clone of Dignitas, and it's in Europe where it's legalized. But I mean, people fly there and then pay for their services, and it's probably in the end 20 grand, 25 grand, or basically you have to be really privileged to have a basic human right that you should have in the first place in your own home, like you do your dog. I put my dog down a month ago or whatever, and I was broken from her dying, but I was also amazed and just it was at how easy the whole process was. She was just out in 5 or 10 seconds and most peaceful ending ever. And just amazed. I was amazed at that. That was really awesome. And I'm just thinking, but I was also thinking just like, unbelievable, dude. Like, this vet came, did this thing, didn't ask us one question of why, what's your name? She just said, you got your credit card? Oh yeah, sure. Here you go. And it should be that easy of a process for us too. It should be just that simple. And the reasons shouldn't be explained either. And that's the debate we're having, where even the people with terminal illness have to provide mounds of paperwork just to prove, to them that they're worthy of this peaceful, death. And it's like insane to me, because everyone deserves it. But like you were saying, and others, you guys were saying, it's a lot of it's comes back to like religion. A lot of it's religion and being like, feeling like that if you kill yourself, you're committing the ultimate sin, right? You're basically saying F you to God. Like, you created my life and my soul, and I'm saying F you to it because I'm killing myself. Like, that is a fear. I think it's the best selling point for a religious doctrine, is just saying, if you do this, you're gonna burn in hell forever or whatever.
Even though if you believe in God made you to die anyway. So like, religious people just blow my mind with their idiocracy. It's and it's something, you know, I think the way I think probably all of us are, we probably saw through that at a very early age, like, this is all bullshit. You know, how is this reality? It's fucking pure bullshit, right?
I had
I
a
mean-
weird experience. Oh, sorry, Amanda. Go
Oh,
ahead.
go ahead, Kevin. Sorry.
I was just gonna say I had a weird experience with I was a not like you, where I was always an atheist. I deconverted from Christianity, where I really believed it, but I was still fighting for the right to die. So my Christian friends were just like, "You're a coward if you kill yourself," and all these cliche arguments. And I was just like, "What the hell are you talking about? That's awful. This person's suffering. Let them go." You know. But 14 years ago or 15, I had a deconversion process that just blew my worldview out of the water. I mean, it was a beautiful thing that happened. But it's sad how people think it's a negative thing, but it was awesome. And I'm grateful to have that experience, even if it was a little later in my life. I'm glad. That's all. Sorry, Amanda.
No, not at all. I apologize for interrupting you. I just wanted to say it's like, yeah, it's organized religion, but it's also just like the cult of people's notions about life. Like, you know, you will heal, you know, you will be happy, you will do yoga, you know, there's just it's such a, like, religion is taking such an a la carte form now, where it's like anything can be the, you know, the altar to which, you know, suffering can be sacrificed to in it, you know, it just in immeasurable amounts, where it's like, you know, we're constantly forced to exist because somebody else's notion of that life is good, or life is always good, or life is always worth fighting for no matter what, will be sacrificed. Like, people can't let that go. And the fact that people have to keep existing in horrific states just because that notion in somebody else's mind about somebody else's life can, you know, is challenged, is just it's an insanely surreal circumstance that we're caught up in, you know. And it's like, you know, I would think that, you know, and some of these people are atheists, you know. It's like, you don't have to believe in God to have a tyrannically religious notion of what life is and why somebody should either be put here in the first place or not have the right to get out. And that's the part of it that's really scary and really difficult to combat, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think, like, you know, I think that everything has been so distorted over our lifetime, especially, but throughout history, that even people who think they are atheists really don't understand, nor they're agnostic or whatever. They really don't understand, I don't think. And so therefore they don't get the full, you know, like your you know, pointing out that there are even atheists that are against suicide. Like, how does that compute? It's just like, oh man, I had a comparison, but yeah, just how does that compute? Oh, I know. There's like a lot of people in, you know, punk rock who are all now, like, they were pro Trump. Like, how are you punk rock and you support a government, or even an elite official, you know, who is pretending to go against the government, even though everybody, all the rich, made a lot of money when he was in, and they make just as much, if not more, when Biden's in. But you have like people that think that they're punk rock, and they can't understand that they can't even understand what they think they are. If that makes sense. It's really, really fucked up.
Well,
No,
I think
I
people
100%.
get sucked into this, like, atheism, like woo woo, like the cosmos is so amazing and magical, and that the small chance that you became here, you know, that the tiny just lottery winning that you got, which I would argue is the opposite, you know, of being here, you should appreciate and value so much, and just become this, like, magical being of constant gratefulness. Yeah. And it's just, everything is just so amazing. And you don't have to believe, and you don't have to believe in a God to do that. And that's what I think people, even in suicide prevention groups, are atheists too. I'm sure there's a percentage in there that they're just applying like that view on how life is so precious, because this is the only life that you get, and so you should value it at best you can. But they're not taking into account people's permanent suffering. They can't even understand the idea that just like it is a permanent solution, but to a permanent problem. Most of these problems people have are fucking forever. They're gonna have their shit forever, whatever it is, whatever thousands of conditions there are in the world, they're done. You deal with it. Just like the wart on your nose, you're just like, okay, buddy, I'm with you forever. No, whatever. And it's just, that's the worst thing ever. Yeah. The most as far as condescension and insulting behavior is to treat your suffering that is chronic and you've had for decades and you're going to have it forever, say that that's a temporary problem. And who said that?
Oh, sorry. Hope it didn't interrupt anyone. Okay.
No.
I was going to say, yeah, I mean, a lot of atheists, they belong to the cult of the DNA molecule, the cult of life. And I don't know if you ever seen this. It's a very cringy video by Neil deGrasse Tyson, who is an atheist. I think it's called The Greatest Thing or The Greatest Truth, where he just like worships nature and the natural process. And it's like the universe is inside of us and all this stuff. And it's like he's not addressing the wars, the famines, the diseases, the rapes, animals slaughtering each other in the wild, people slaughtering each other on the streets. It's like he thinks all this is worth it. And to me, it's like, and also the tone too. It's like he may as well be giving a church sermon, and all the comments below were like, this is my new religion and stuff like that. It's all a bunch of Oprah bullshit. It's like you replace bullshit with another type. You replace diarrhea with bloody stools. I don't know. It's still crap.
That's beautiful. That's so spot on. That's funny.
Never before have the words bloody stool been so eloquent and poetic, Danny. That was pretty amazing.
It's perfect for collapsing with Casey. That's what this show is all about. Sorry, go ahead, Kevin.
Oh no, I was just saying it was singing. What's the phrase? I forget what it is. Singing to my ears, or you're singing to my. What is the phrase? You're singing whatever. Fuck it. I forget the phrase. Who cares? You're speaking my words, whatever it is.
Speaking my language.
Yes. Someone in the chat is asking if you have can accept donations. If someone wants to donate, can they donate to your organization?
No, not yet. I don't know if we will, because I hope that we can get to a place where some funding happens, but it would be 100% spent on the activism of what we're doing, of course. But no, I'm so grateful that even a question like that is posed, because we've had that just 3 or 4 times tops, but I'm still just like in awe about just kind of the positive reactions people are getting and the support that we're getting, as far as just stuff that, how can they contribute, not even just monetarily, but you want me to be on the street corner with the sign with you, I'll do that. Like, it's really awesome. And with an organization like us that is I think a lot different than others, I don't know how they could support us right now. I hate to say it. I'm still working on the website. It has yet to go live, or it's live, but it's just on a banner page. But right now, donations. We don't. It's not. But should we have it? I don't know. I could ask the other two guys. What do you guys think? Hey,
we should have it.
A Friday meeting right now.
Yeah, right now, right.
Yeah, I think when y'all need all the help you can get, and money is, while it's still useful, I don't know about November, but right for at least October, it's still very useful. And then I think maybe in November you'll have to have a ton of it to have a little of it, if that is even useful. I don't know. It's things are pretty crazy. Yeah, I thought it was just a nice gesture, and I hope that you guys do have some way for people to donate, because obviously that does help, and you guys deserve that. I think what you're doing again is so important. So I really appreciate you guys for that.
Thank you, Casey. And thank you for that question, commenter. We really do appreciate that.
The problem is we're all living in a different city too. Like we always talk about how cool it'd be if we lived in the same town. At least the three of us could have some kind of outreach demonstrations on the street, with some signs that we could have created. But we don't. And so now we just, to go solo like that, people do think you're kind of the insane preacher guy or something, the nut job on the street corner, especially if you have a sign that says, suicide is good or something nutty.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead, Danny.
I think, he made Kevin made a great point. It's almost like 2 people protesting equals 100. And so, if you're one person protesting, you might be kidnapped by the white coats and taken to a psychiatric hospital. It's crazy, but yeah, I think we have the potential to have millions of supporters in America. And, soon I was looking at the Centers for Disease Control, and they said in 2019, 13 million Americans seriously thought about ending their own lives. And out of that, like 3 million made actual plans, 1.3 million attempted, and 45,700 actually succeeded. So what are the chances that we're going to get 1 million supporters out of this? Even 500 would be incredible. And plus we got the whole wide world to think about. So I think we have a potential for, support on a massive global scale.
Yeah, I do think that there's never been a more important time for this conversation, both the conversation of coming into existence and how do you get out of existence peacefully. And I think that the normalization of that conversation just is so desperately needed, especially amongst those, I know a big part of your channel, Joey, is about collapse and, about taking a more lamentful approach to human extinction. But I mean, that's not a conversation that you can have, but with a lot of, there's like a Facebook group, which I really like. It's called Near Term Human Extinction. And it's sort of lamenting the fact that might be a possibility. And, they don't allow conversations about the right to die or antinatalism there. And that's a real, I don't mean to single out that one group, but I mean, these aren't, these conversations, yes, have a very difficult, they're very difficult. They have a perception around them of being very dark and something you shouldn't be talking about. But this is all about saving those that you love, from having to experience sort of what's on the way, because even if collapse isn't imminent or some of these other things, we're not really, the picture of what the future is going to look like is pretty grim. So let's do more to save each other and from having to experience that. I just don't think you can be having more important conversations than that. We've already identified what the problems are. The future is not looking good. The past wasn't so good to begin with. Going back to DNA, the design was broken from the beginning, so let's stop let's stop feeding coal into the furnace, you know. And you know, and as we're coming off of this whole corona thing where people have died miserably, you know, and even conversations about having living wills, you know, planning for, this is about planning for your life. What is your life going to look like? And part of planning for your life is not, you know, going to school and getting a career. It's what your last days are going to look like. Do you want to be intubated? You know, do you want to be able to have a party? You know, do you want to be able to make sure you have that one last drink with your friends and family? And think of how many people died this last year wishing that they could have made those kinds of decisions. Whether this was a conversation that they had been able to have for 5 years prior, 10 years prior. This was, you know, think of them, you know,
Yeah.
and think of all the other people that are going to die for all these other kinds of reasons. And yeah, there just cannot possibly be a more important time to be having this discussion. And yeah, we'll do anything in our power to make sure that that happens.
That was so well put, man. You know, and you know, suffering, we like seeing and knowing that ourselves, for one, are going to suffer because there's nothing for us. But your loved ones on top of that, like if I accidentally shoot myself and it's terminal, I'm going to go right here and finish it off because it was, you know, it started out as an accident, but I can't fix that. It's going to be really bad and I'm going to suffer the whole time through it. So, you know, and obviously nobody in their right mind wants to go out by gun, unless, you know, maybe that's their thing, to each their own, because people have done it successfully. I mean, I am a huge follower of Michael Rupert, and that was what he did. But he was an LA cop. He was, you know, he knew how not to slip and fuck it up, you know. I mean, you know, and if that's your you know, your way out, or jumping off a bridge like we mentioned before, you know, but still, I don't want to live in a world where I wake up every day and go, fuck, if it doesn't go right, I got to jump off a bridge somewhere, or a building, or a cliff. Fuck that. No, just give me some morphine. Make it, you know, make it accessible. Just like, you know, I know preaching to the choir here, but just like we do are able to do with our animals, you know, at least in this country. And we're getting kind of close to the hour. I don't want to take up too much of your time. So do you guys have any final thoughts or anything that we haven't covered that you would like to talk about?
Well, I think just to add on maybe to what you were saying, I think it's so important to talk about the consequences of prohibition. So you have a law that says suicide is illegal. You help a person out to commit suicide, you're going to jail. All of these things are in place to prevent people from doing it, like in a graceful way. So we're resorting now to crude methods and things like shooting yourself or whatever. And the problem is, not only are you not successful a certain percentage of the time, and you're going to live a long life as a paraplegic or whatever, or your face is blown off or whatever, but you know, prohibition is also creating the trauma of the emergency folks that come and see. Well, not only your family's going to walk in, but the EMT, the policeman, you know, the who knows could ever walk in on your garage, you know, your friends, your neighbor's daughter, 9-year-old daughter walks in on the garage to see you hanging or something on accident. Like, these things happen. So anyway, just severely traumatic consequences that don't need to exist. And you legalize it, just like marijuana or something. It's like poof, all of a sudden the criminals are gone. You know, yeah. all the negative things ever are going to be gone, and that's it. You're going to get someone that might do something extreme if they're have an impulsive emotional trauma or divorce or breakup, or you're not going to ever protect those people because, you know, there might be something within something we could talk about. We don't have to, but yeah, you know, where even with full legislation, you know, there could be a thing where you might have to have it. This is not what we probably believe, but this is probably the rational conclusion that I think a society would come to, is you would probably have to have a waiting period. You know, you apply for the right to die, and you're 20, and there's a waiting period maybe that you might have to go through, which sucks, but whatever. I could see how that's a rational, thing that the lawmakers would make. But people that would do it on impulse wouldn't wait. They're not going to wait that long. Even kind of Canada laws, the MAID Act is cool, but it's like you look into the details of it, and it's just a little bit more of an advanced version of a death with dignity in the States. And you still got to wait 2 years for if you have a mental condition or all these waiting terms. Danny knows more about that stuff, but these are just massive consequences of prohibition, just like alcohol or marijuana or whatever. Big problem, big problem to address for sure.
I want to make an apology. I just realized that I titled this "The Right to Die," interview with the right to die. I meant to say right to no longer exist. Now I understand why people are confused. I'm sorry about that. That was my fault. I abruptly had to retype the intro and screwed that up. So that's on me. And I don't know that I can fix it, because if I do, I think it'll delete the interview, because if you edit the live stream, it'll delete the interview, or maybe it just deletes the chat. So yeah, sorry about that, guys. I totally botched that.
No worries. It should allow you to correct it once the video is fully uploaded and just in your what is it called? My studio or whatever. But yeah, no worries.
Yeah, I will.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I just want to make a statement about procreation. I think it makes more sense to have waiting periods for people who want to force life into existence, because as it stands now, a 12-year-old can procreate. You can be 18 years old and have 5 children, or you can be 18 years old and just had your 5th child to be put up for adoption, and you won't have any consequences whatsoever. And a lot of people want to die because of all the hell that they were put through as children at the hands of their parents or their neglect. But still, those who want to die, they're the problem, not the ones who created the problem to begin with. Yeah.
You're absolutely right, Danny. Thank you.
So I just wanted to say real quick an apology to Kevin Hester. I was just following along with the chat, on my phone. So I made a bit of a mistake. I didn't realize I had mentioned the Facebook group, what is it called? I'm sorry, near-term human extinction. So I didn't realize the right to die conversation is allowed there. My apologies. I had experiences in the past of antinatalist conversation not being allowed there, which kind of makes sense because, antinatalist discussion for the most part is pro-extinction. Well, again, as I said, near-term human extinction is more lamentful of that fact. But again, I apologize. I didn't realize that right to die discussion was allowed there. So my apologies.
Oh yeah, no worries. Thank you for pointing that out. That was what I was going to say next, and then abruptly forgot. And Kevin is a moderator there too, Kevin Hester. So I know that he is. I mean, obviously, him listening, he's already supportive of what we're talking about. So yeah, but I think from a lot of members there, you'll probably get a lot of kickback. And I've gotten that same thing from a lot of near-term climate groups and stuff like that. And that's why I actually left all the groups a while back, and it really helped.
Yeah.
Just because there's so much what we call hopium. Plant trees. Just plant trees. Go out every day and plant trees. Don't waste your time. Plant trees. It's like, waste my time. I already work like 5 to 7 days a week, and planting trees. The world's on fire. They're just gonna burn.
Plant trees and do yoga now. And heal. God damn it, heal. Yeah, don't be sad. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was just using that group as an example, but yeah, I think what you're talking about is indicative of a lot of groups. It's just so
Happy little trees, happy little clouds, as you could say.
Well, you guys, this has been really awesome. I really appreciate y'all coming on. We're at the top of the hour, so I'm totally up to you guys. I'm glad to do more. But if you guys are are done too, that's understandable. We've done a good hour, and I really appreciate you guys coming on. It means a lot. And if there's anything that I can do for you guys, I'm on your team. We're all we're all on the same path.
Yeah, that's great. I personally have had a great time. I really want to thank you, Joey, for having us on so much. This has been a lot of fun. I'm happy to do a little bit more if you guys want to. If not, this has been a blast. Yeah, just thank you so much again for doing this.
Yeah, this has been great, and we really appreciate you having us on. And we'd like to have you on, one of our podcasts sometime.
I would love to. I'd be honored, man. I think we'd have a good talk. And and there's hopefully I could turn you on to some other people too that might come on. Some really important people who understand and are on board as well.
That sounds great.
We need all the support we can. This is going to be a huge fight. It's going to take a long time to convince people that this is right.
Yeah,
But
just
it's going to be a long fight. I agree. Maybe to legalization, but I think in theory, people agree with it more than they realize that they agree with it. Because you can talk about just, I put my dog to sleep, so I can't, whatever, or those arguments that are kind of emotionally based, and they buy into it. They're like, yeah, I know, you're totally right, I agree, and all this stuff. And my sister's a nurse, like they do it, all the time. They're just like, why don't you give Sally in room 3 just a little bit of more morphine, if you know what I mean, wink wink. Like they're all actually right to die advocates in a way, right? Like probably not in the way that we are, but they're still doing it. They still agree. I've had conversations with people that are vehement Christians and full on whatever, but they're still like, yeah, totally legalize it. And so I'm trying to just think of how are we make that jump? How do we make that leap? If they're already 90% in agreement, where is this 10% the bridge that we need to fill the gap with? What kind of tool, what method, what argument can we do to make them be like, yeah, you're right? I mean, 90-year-olds with terminal illness, but a 40-year-old with schizophrenia, I mean, that's not a big leap to us. Right now they are, maybe, but I don't know. I think that there's more people in agreement than they realize, and just having conversations like this it helps. So yeah, thanks a lot, Joey. Appreciate it.
To kind of elaborate on that, like Guy McPherson, Professor Guy McPherson, his one of his philosophies is planetary hospice. And like what you were saying, the medical staff and hospice caregivers, they are sort of, they're in their own way a right to die activist, in a right to no longer exist activists, because they are mitigating the suffering of somebody with like terminal stage cancer 4. So you don't have to have stage 4 cancer to be at the end of your will to get up another day and do this shit. To go to a shitty job at fucking McDonald's and get yelled at because you put ketchup on their hamburger, and you get $7 an hour, yet your bills are thousands of dollars a month. Like, who can wake up every day in that world and go, well, I don't have anything, I need money, so I just go to work at McDonald's for 16 hours a day and still not pay your bills? Who, that's stage 4 cancer right there. In that, and that person could be could be of any age, you know, it's just so sad. And I think what you guys are doing, you know, if you can't, obviously the world is too big to be changed and it's too powerful. But like you were saying, having these conversations, it's that in itself is hospice. And we can all kind of be that for each other in having these conversations and friendships and understanding of reality, you know, what we're all facing. So yeah, thank you guys so much, man. Any other closing thoughts or ideas?
I don't think so. Just thank you so much again, Joey, for doing this. It's been a blast. It's really been a great time. Thank you.
Yeah, and thanks to our chatters. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you for all your input, and thank you all who introduced me to the Right to No Longer Exist organization. I really appreciate that. I've enjoyed their channel and their videos, so please check them out. At the end, I'll put a comment in the comments. I'll link their YouTube channel, and yeah, definitely if you don't know them and you're finding them through my channel, please check them out. I think you'll really enjoy their work and what they say. And I look forward to hopefully many more as long as time permits. It was really wonderful talking to you guys so much.
Yeah, you too.
It's
Thanks
really
so much.
wonderful.
It
You
means
too,
a lot.
Joey. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Really wonderful talking to you. Okay.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.
All righty. Catch you later. Thanks.